Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. I'm Yula, your anxious attachment style coach. I'll help you to finally stop overthinking your relationship by overcoming your fear of being left by your partner. Thought by thought, action by action, now episode by episode. Why? So you can experience true, authentic, anxiety-free love and feel a lasting ripple effect in all areas of your life. Are you ready to become the best secure version of yourself? Let's go. How to heal your anxious attachment style, part 1. Welcome back or welcome if you're listening for the first time. Get cozy and comfy. Grab your favorite drink. I'm here with my Starbucks venti cup, as always. Today on the Anxious to Secure podcast, we're talking about the most important thing: how to heal your anxious attachment style. I'm sure that is the episode you've been all waiting for. Now, of course, I know one episode can't cover everything, but I'll share some very powerful concepts that made a huge difference in my healing journey. And becoming securely attached is not a walk in the park, but it's really about really consistent, tiny, small actions every day. And there's not one way to do it, but after really trying, lots of different methods over the years, and at the beginning especially, I've really found that there are some things that work really fast and are much more effective, and other things that really don't create much of an impact, and some things that really keep you actually stuck. And today in this episode, I'll talk to you about 3 ways how to heal your anxious attachment style and how to rewire your attachment style for safety to create a secure attachment style. 6 areas of transformation, 2 key elements for fast success, and the reason why I healed my anxious attachment style within 6 months, more or less. And then I think in part 2, so a week later, I'll touch on the 1 focus area that you want to make and 3 habits. 3 habits that will help you create the secure version of yourself, the secure you, and the identity shift you really crave. So really exciting. If you want like a free resource, a checklist, what it really looks like an overview, how I became, securely attached, this might be quite helpful. You can head over to my Instagram at the Anxious to Secure Coach, put a dot in between each word, or head over to the show notes and grab the checklist. If you're on Instagram, reply the word "the checklist" under any of my posts to get instantly the link sent to you for the instant download. Also, really exciting, I've literally created so many free resources on how to heal your anxious attachment style, and really hyper-specific challenges on jealousy, on challenging your thoughts, and all of the stuff. And I've collected all of these tools on one page, so you can really choose your specific download worksheet for yourself. It's like a little library, and I'm gonna link this library also on the show notes, so you can just choose your perfect tool for yourself. Enjoy. So let's dive in. Again, today is just a little glimpse, a little glimmer of how it can look like to rewire your attachment style through thoughts, emotions, and actions. These are really the 3 ways how you can heal your anxious attachment style, how I did it, why it really was so fast as well. And I want to really tell you now what it means. What does it mean? How can you rewire your thoughts, your emotions, and actions? So let's talk about thoughts first. Thoughts and beliefs, actually. So this is how you can start rewiring your anxious attachment style through your thoughts. So healing starts really in your mind first. And this is how I started healing my anxious attachment style. I started with my thoughts and became very curious. And your thoughts create your emotions, which then drive your actions. And if you haven't become aware of this pattern yet, really write this down and notice this just for 1 week or 1 day. Your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions create your actions. And hint, hint, if you haven't listened to my previous episodes yet, your actions then create your results in your relationship, in your life, in your career, in all areas of your life. So, but here's the tricky part. Your brain believes everything, it tells itself. So it doesn't separate facts from fear, from your thoughts, from your stories you tell yourself. So when your partner, let's say, doesn't text you back, your mind might jump to, they're pulling away from me, and you take it personal. Or what if they're losing interest in me? Did I do something wrong? Is it about me? And you're having all of these stories in your head about the situation, about this actually neutral situation. And your thoughts turn anything neutral, black or white, into something positive or negative. It is your thoughts about this thing, about, let's say, the weather. If it's raining, it's your thoughts about the rain that turns it into something negative or positive. It's not that the rain is something negative. It is your thoughts that decide that. So your body reacts, as if it's real. Even if it's just a story your brain has made up. And that is really such a powerful concept to understand. And that created such a breakthrough when I started creating shifts for my relationships. It all starts within myself and my thoughts. But thoughts are not facts. They're just interpretations. And the good news is you can change them. So instead of assuming the worst, which, is very typical if you're anxiously attached and you're trying to protect yourself, that's what your brain does. You always assume the worst. You can pause and ask yourself, is this actually true? Or am I just filling in the blanks? Could there be another explanation for why this is happening? For what my partner does, for what my partner said, for what's going on here? What else could be true? Am I using black and white thinking? Am I maybe jumping to conclusions? Am I missing out important facts of the situation? And you can also ask yourself something I've used to ask myself a lot of times when I wasn't sure. What would I be thinking if I would be, a secure version of myself? What would the best version of myself think here? And eventually I found secure couples in my environment to have like a role model to see, okay, would Amy think this? And if you don't have any role models in your environment, if you're not sure who's secure and who is really someone you can look up to, maybe a celebrity couple who's actually very healthy, who's very confident, who's very regulated, and you think, they sound like a very good inspiration, then always have them in mind and see, okay, what would they think and do, and how would they react? Because when you shift, your thoughts, your emotions shift too. So this is just the first part, you really want to become very, very curious about your thoughts, realize they create your emotions, but your thoughts are not facts. And they're not reality. We all have a different reality based on our interpretations of the world, of our relationship, of our partner, and about ourselves. Step 2, emotions. Let's talk about emotions. Very, very important. Your emotions aren't the enemy. Again, your emotions are not the enemy. There are signals trying to tell you something. So if you feel that tightness in your chest when your partner pulls away, it's not because of them. Again, it's not because of them. It's because your nervous system interprets distance as a signal of danger. There's something wrong, apparently. So instead of spiraling, here's what you can do. First, name the feeling. I feel anxious right now. Part of me feels anxious. You can also say, this emotion feels uncomfortable, but it won't last forever. You can tell yourself some reminders about this. You can tell yourself, I can handle this feeling, or I felt this before and it only lasted for a couple of minutes, or I survived this before. And then depending on what kind of emotion you're experiencing, here's how you can start regulating your emotions. So if your emotions feel like very big, like activating emotions, like anxiety, anger, frustration, your body, is flooded with adrenaline and you need to release energy perhaps, before you can really think clearly. Because when you're flooded, the Gottmans talk about this a lot. The Gottmans is a married couple who do a lot of research based on married couples. They really figure out, what creates successful marriages, and they figured out once your body is flooded, emotionally flooded, meaning you're very intense and you're triggered, you really can't think clearly because your prefrontal cortex is shut down. It's like when your phone is overheated, it literally turns off itself, right? So you can't use it anymore. It's the same for your logical part of your brain. So only your primitive brain is active. It means you can't communicate clearly, you can't empathize with your partner anymore, and you say things you will regret. You will do things you will regret. And it's very typical for me. That's why when I was in the midst of my relationship anxiety and my anxious attachment years ago with my partner, back in London, we used to went into the most terrible fights and arguments, and my partner raised his voice and got very loud, which triggered my anxiety a lot. I felt very, I wasn't scared, but I was like, okay, that's not normal. That's not healthy. And that made me panic, completely jump to conclusions. And I was like, okay, that's it. We can't be in a relationship where my partner raises his voice. I always thought, okay, we have to break up now, but breaking up felt terrible and all of these things. And I also, then increased my voice too. But I think a lot of things happened in that time when I didn't even realize, because I felt so triggered too, that I probably raised my voice and shouted at him without even realizing. Anyway, in that moment, what you can do is to really release that activating big energy, this emotion, by using it in a healthy, go for a walk, even just telling yourself, you know what, I'm just going to step outside just for 1 minute, 5 minutes, because this is kind of the thing you really don't want to do if you're in the middle of an argument or conversation, or when you're feeling triggered. You don't want to go away from this situation, especially if you're an anxious attacher. You want to work with the problem. You want to solve this right now. You think it's urgent, but you have to step out of this moment, because nothing can get solved when your logical brain is shut off. So you have to move away from the situation. Tell your partner, hey, you know what, 50 minutes, quick break, and you walk away, you breathe. If you are, again, very activated, you shake yourself off. If you can't go outside, or it's raining, or it's terrible outside, or you really don't want to go outside, or it's too much of a step, go to the bathroom or the next room, shake yourself off, or toss a pillow onto the floor 10 times. You can even scream into a pillow, do a quick workout, do some jumping jacks, anything to release the energy in a healthy way. Something that is very helpful as well is to shift the focus on something else, like your breath. When you're very activated, you breathe very shallow or very fast, right? So if you remind yourself to breathe very slow, you telling your brain as well, you're safe. There's no reason to run away, or to hold your breath, like when you're in the middle of a dangerous situation. And then something extremely powerful is to really change your temperature. that has been extremely effective for my clients and for myself as well. So often we are very hot, and changing the temperature has been also like statistically proven very well. So something I always do is like when I'm at home, for especially, is having ice in my fridge. So either drinking some ice water, splashing even cold water in my face, on my wrists, very helpful. Perfect is even if you can just have a quick shower, or if you're at the beach, jump into the water. This is something you can't always do when you're driving a car in the supermarket or outside. But if you're there, just try to distance yourself at least from the trigger, from your partner, just for a few minutes. Breathe, shake yourself off maybe. Do something like that. However, if you have more deactivating emotions, which usually happens more afterwards or long term, let's say if you feel numb, drained, sadness, exhaustion, disconnection, that can happen often when you're very long in this very fight or flight state. Then also listen to your body. You can then bring your back gently into this more activational energy. You can, create safety from within again you can create safety from within with like wrap yourself up in a blanket, drink a warm tea, or do some faster breathing to like activate yourself. Really listen to yourself, what helps you in the moment to get yourself more activated or create more safety for yourself. Also let yourself rest and don't push yourself to tell yourself, I have to get out of this. Negative self-talk is very damaging for yourself. How can you feel safe when you don't talk yourself in a way that is loving and kind? Imagine, you're a little child and you talk yourself with hateful comments like, oh, how dare you feel this way? You have to do better. Of course, you can't feel safe as a little kid, right? It's the same for you right now. And here is what most people miss in the moment as well. Emotions, come in waves. So, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But most of us really try to stop in the middle when it's at the peak stage. But think about it like this. Imagine you're in the ocean and like this big wave is coming in. So if you're trying to fight the wave, it's just crashing over you, right? And you're just drowning in it. But if you're riding the wave and you float through it and you just let it pass and you just float like how it comes in, you're just managing it much better. I don't know if it makes sense, but emotions are kind of the same way. If you are able to learn to ride the emotional wave without fighting it, without just being aware when you're already at the peak, you're going to be able to master your emotions much better. At the beginning, there is this trigger phase, right? So your body reacts, like your heart is racing and you feel on edge when your partner says something or does something. And then you're getting really worked up in this story about what your partner says, what it could mean about you. You jump to conclusions, and then you're on top of the wave. So this is the hardest part. And it feels like too much, and you're about to break and snap. But if you really learn to allow the emotion to be there and to say, what does this energy, what does this wave do right now? If you breathe through it, let it pass and just ride on top of the wave, you're able to get into the next phase much better. When everything is releasing, when the wave goes down, you're able to, calm down much better, and you start to feel relief. So next time you're overwhelmed, just remind yourself of, this is just a wave, and the goal is not to never be on a wave, to ignore the waves, but it's just to, to be able to learn to have tools to manage to ride the wave much better. And again, like a surfer, you can't just ride a wave just like that. It takes practice and repetitions, and also it will pass. I hope that kind of made sense. Because, once you stop resisting emotions and start really riding them, they lose the power it has over you. And now the third way how you can rewire your anxious attachment style and become secure is through actions. And again, actions create results. So because here's the thing, your nervous system doesn't believe your words. You can't talk your way into safety. So you can tell yourself, I'm safe. I don't need reassurance. I trust my partner. But if your actions keep reinforcing fear, like checking your phone every 5 minutes or over-explaining to fix things, or when you're always trying to prove your worth, your brain won't believe it, because your brain's language is action. You teach it through action. So what can you do instead? Hey you, if you're multitasking, come closer. Are you tired of obsessing over your texts from your partner? Are you constantly checking your phone every 5 minutes? Are you overthinking every message they send? Are you feeling abandoned when they don't text you back right away or take too much time to respond? Imagine feeling like this in 21 days. Calm when they're texting or when they don't text. No more anxious spirals. Knowing their silence really doesn't mean anything about your self-worth and that you're still safe. Watching your partner become more obsessed with you because of your new energy. That's exactly why I've created my mini course on text anxiety. The only one you'll ever need to learn how to stop obsessing over text in just 21 days or less. And let's transform your relationship anxiety one text at a time. How? Either find the link in my bio or jump over to my Instagram and comment under any of the posts the word text anxiety. Because your brain's language is action. You teach it through action. So what can you do instead? You take actions that prove to your brain you're safe. Instead of checking your phone constantly, put it down and do something that makes you feel good, like take a walk, listen to music or call a friend. Learn to self-soothe. Learn to be with the emotion, even if it's uncomfortable. Instead, of sending a follow-up text out of anxiety, take a deep breath. Learn to self-soothe if you don't know how to do it. Remind yourself, I don't need constant reassurance from others. I can reassure myself. And even if it feels uncomfortable right now, it is still safe to feel this emotion. And instead of avoiding hard conversations out of fear, maybe try to take a small step towards it, like practice speaking up, for example, even if it feels uncomfortable. And the thing is here, the fastest way to break, the anxious cycle isn't through actions alone. It starts also with your thoughts and emotions first. But actions are really a huge part of this whole thing. Again, as a reminder, and I want you to write this down somewhere, your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions create your actions, and your actions create your results. So if you've tried, to stop overthinking, to set boundaries, to speak up more, to stay calm when your partner needs space, and it didn't work, it's because you believed we're still running the show. When you work on your thoughts and emotions first, suddenly your boundaries feel much easier. You will realize you won't overthink as much anymore. You will learn to create safety from within, not because your partner has changed, but because you did. And the fastest way to healing is really working on your thoughts first. At least that's what I did. That's the foundation of everything. But if that feels a little bit hard, or your anxiety is actually, the thing that is blocking you right now and your emotions are taking over, then I would highly recommend starting with the emotions first. And in my course, The Anxious to Secure Blueprint, how to become 95% secure faster, I go so much more into like depth into each area, give you a lot of micro examples, because I think we learn the best through examples and through visuals as well. And yeah, you can apply them immediately on a thought, belief level, emotional level, and really action level, and to really get your needs met in a very powerful way, at a pace that really feels right for you. So before I walk you through now the 6 areas of transformation you need to become securely attached, let me give you again another quick example of how to rewire your anxious attachment through thoughts, emotions, and actions as a quick overview. So let's start with thoughts. The example is, you might have the thought, my partner didn't text me back, so they must be losing interest. Instead, shift to, just because they didn't reply yet doesn't mean they don't care, right? They could be busy. This change in the thought helps you to feel calmer and stops the anxious spiral. Again, you need to find a new thought that is actually feels true for yourself. Don't just tell yourself something that doesn't feel right for you. You need to find something that really feels true for you. One example for emotions can feel like this. If you feel a tightness in your chest and you feel this fear coming over you and your partner is distant, instead of pushing the feeling away or reacting, take a deep breath and name the emotion. Say maybe like, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling a little bit anxious inside me, or a part of me feels anxious, and it's okay to feel this uncomfortable emotion right now. Every emotion is just a vibration in my body, and it's okay to experience this. And the more you give room for any emotion, the more you can learn to be okay with yourself and with the triggers and challenges in your relationship. And let's talk about actions. So, for example, if you find yourself checking your phone constantly again, just because I'm using phone examples because a lot of my clients can relate to that, but you can apply this for any other trigger. Yeah. So again, if you're checking your phone a lot of times, waiting for a message or to send a follow-up text, rather, wait, pause, and do something else. Go for a walk, listen to music, do something that is fun, even if it's distracting, it's okay. You want to teach your brain that you don't have to engage with your partner, that it's not urgent to having to need them to reassure you, that it's not urgent and important, that you don't have to text him right now. This way, you're shifting from anxiety-driven actions to more, things that are good for your soul. Even if you haven't learned to actually reassure yourself yet, at least this is creating a distance. Later on, you can also say, you know what, I'm not going to engage with my partner for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And then you're going to reply back to him or send a follow-up text. And then even just by creating this distance, you teach your brain more and more it's safe to be without this follow-up text. And the more you do this, the more you create safety from within. So now there are 6 categories to work through, which I'm talking about more, in the Anxious to Secure Blueprint. And I've also talked about previously on episodes in Signs, to figure out that you're anxiously attached, that you want to work through about triggers to areas of transformation, really, to become securely attached. And that is about, the first one is emotional safety. And this is about healing, your deep abandonment wounds that make your fear being left or rejected, really, that create those fears. And it's creating a space where you feel safe no matter what your partner does or says or what's happening in your relationship, to really create safety from within you. And you learn to trust yourself to handle any uncomfortable emotion. And you really stop seeking constant reassurance from your partner. And instead of wondering if they will leave, you trust that you'll be okay no matter what happens. That's really the first area that you want to work on and heal, basically. And the second area I work with my clients on is really your unworthiness wound, creating self-esteem and confidence. And a lot of anxious attachment comes from feeling like you're not enough. And this is about boosting yourself, reminding yourself that you are worthy and capable and more than enough. You stop looking to your partner for validation because you start giving it to yourself first. And you show up in your relationships knowing that you bring incredible value that you bring this incredible value just by being there. You don't have to do anything to prove your worth. And the third area of transformation is really creating interdependency. The goal is to break the cycle of codependency where your happiness relies on your partner. You're learning that while you love and care for your partner, you're also responsible for your own emotions. You fill your own cup emotionally and, independent, both financially, for example, or emotionally. And you're not looking for someone to complete you. You're whole already on your own, and your partner adds to that. He's just the cherry on top. And that's hard if you've, abandoned yourself for so long and you don't know exactly who you are. You lost a sense of self. You're always, waiting for your partner to take decisions and you kind of follow his lead or her lead, and that's okay. But it's important to realize, there are like three entities. It's you, your partner, and the relationship. And if you pour more into yourself, your relationship and your partner will grow at the same time, because if you only focus on your partner or on your relationship, you as the entity will die out. Okay, that's a harsh was a metaphor, but it's true. Okay, and the fourth area of transformation is mastering your emotions, which will also help with conflict, for example. So conflict is normal and it's healthy as well. And it can also be an area that really brings you stronger and closer together in relationships. But it's all about learning how to handle it in a secure way, so that conflict doesn't become toxic. Instead of getting triggered and spiraling into anxious thoughts or fears, you develop the skill to regulate your emotions during conflict and learn how you can express yourself in a way that doesn't trigger each other. You learn language that helps you as well. You learn tools how you respond rather than react. And this makes, conflict less scary and more of an opportunity to grow together. Because if you have an anxious attachment style, conflict and strong emotions can be this huge, scary threat for your relationship and for your safety, because you might think conflict means breakup, means you will end up alone, and this means you're not good enough and all of this. But that isn't true. The fifth area of transformation, expressing yourself in a way that is authentic and assertive. You want to go away from people pleasing. No more passive communication or being very critical or demanding. Anxious attachers often avoid setting boundaries because they're afraid of rejection. But boundaries are essential for healthy relationships. This is about learning to speak up for yourself, expressing your needs, and setting boundaries without fear. And you can feel guilty at the beginning. It will take a while to feel less guilt. But as long as you set boundaries, that is here the key, because you will learn that this is a huge part of emotional safety as well, and becoming securely attached. And you will realize that setting boundaries doesn't push people away. This is here the key, because this is a huge limiting belief you might have. but actually can bring you closer to the loved ones. It can create, respect and trust. And are you ready for the last area of transformation that I realized, really helps you to shift into a secure attachment style? And that is really creating inner peace. So anxious attachers often ruminate and overthink and replaying situations in their minds. But to move towards security, you need to create inner peace. This means letting go of the constant need for control or certainty, and instead of focusing on the present moment. We only live now. There's no past and no future. These are just concepts we humans have created, right? So you don't want to miss being here right now, miss being with your partner. You don't want to miss being with your kids, with yourself. You don't want to miss these magical moments. And if you are always in your head, you are missing out on so much. So you stop the mental spirals and give your mind the calm and peace that you really deserve. And this will get rid of your anxiety as well. So these are really the 6 key areas to work on if you're ready to move from anxious to secure. And these are really the areas I'll walk you through in my course. And I don't just walk you through, I give you tools how you really want to work through them. And next week, on next Thursday, I will continue with part 2. It's a bit of a shorty episode, as Amy Porterfield would say, and go through into one focus that is important when it comes to healing your anxious attachment style, and something you're most likely doing wrong right now if you're still feeling stuck. And I talk about the 2 key elements that are most important to rewire your anxious attachment style very fast. They're really, really essential, and why it can take, for some people, years to really become securely attached, or might even never really give them security, and why it took me just really 6 months to become secure so fast, and really share you my process to really speed up the process. And plus I cover the 3 habits I think are really important for you to create this identity shift from this anxious you to the secure you, to step into the best version of yourself. But for now, I hope you really love this episode. And if you're ready to heal your anxious attachment style and check out the show notes to really learn to become 95% secure faster with your subconscious mind. And by now, I actually wanted to have, created the course and launched it by now. But unfortunately, it's a little late. I promise the wait is worth it. I was a little sick over the entire month of December, and that delayed everything a little bit. Plus, I had no idea how long it takes to create really the signature course, because I really want to make sure this course is to the point, so powerful that I don't just, it's not supposed to be fluffy. It's really directly to the point, the most powerful core concepts with lots of micro examples. So you get to the results the fastest way. So I rather delay it for a few more weeks and launch it when it's really 100% perfect for you to get to your secure attachment style when it's really ready. So I promise the wait is worth it, but you can already, subscribe to the waitlist for the Anxious to Secure course. It's going to be amazing. I mean, the gift to heal your anxious attachment style is so powerful. Again, it's the most powerful thing you can do in your life. If you're not ready for that and just want to heal your text anxiety or stop overthinking your relationships, I have, again, entry offers that are very low, very affordable. Check them out. Or if you're interested in one-on-one coaching with me to just get to this personal, touch point with me to really go into very specific triggers, I'm there for you. You can talk through any questions you have. Hop on a call with me, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Is your partner's inconsistent behavior or lack of reassurance driving you crazy? Guess what? That's not the real problem here. The real issue is your abandonment wound, the deep-rooted fear of being left behind. What if they leave? What if I'm not a priority? What if I'm actually not good enough? If you're ready to go from anxious to secure and stop overthinking everything they do, then I'll share with you all my secrets, how I went in just 6 months from anxious to secure. Head to the link in bio. You got this.